this evening. Hi, Yewande. Good evening. Welcome to Enoverlab. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure, I can hear you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, while you were talking was when I got a notification that my internet is acting up. So forgive me if
Okay.
it's acting up at some points. Can you see me?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
All right. You can just take it away. Get us right into the conversation.
Okay. Thanks for the introduction, Blessing. Hi, everyone. How you all doing? It's good to see you. I see some people have their cameras on. If you have your camera on, that's also fine. Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. There are quite a number of people on this call today, 64 people. Oh my God, how many people are in the community?
We
Can
have
someone?
about 300 plus.
Okay, this is actually very good engagement, right? Because yeah, more than 60 people joining. I don't know, is this a normal thing or is this because of the jackpot topic?
It's okay, it's normal in a way, but we just have few more people join because of that the Jaffa topic.
Okay, that's fine. I hope you guys would not be disappointed, but yeah, hopefully you won't be. Okay, good to meet all of you. I have a slide. I will just share it now. Let me get that ready. But yeah, I think it's good. It was very good for me. I think when you did the introduction, it was good for me to know the expectations that a couple of people have. So maybe you can also put it in the comment section or in the chat. I want just know your expectation for this, right? If you have any unique question already ahead of time, so I can talk about it, or if you have an expectation, if you can just put it in the chat if you didn't get to talk, because there are a lot of people here, that will be good. So I don't know if I should wait for you guys to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure if I should wait, if that will take a lot of time,
I
or I'll
feel
just
like you
go on,
should.
just check it. I'll check it out later.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me share my screen. What is happening? Okay, I see it. One about how to get an internship, I guess you mean. Okay. While everything is coming in, yeah, I also like this to be engaging, so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. So while you shouldn't interrupt me, just like put your comments in the comment section, and then if I do ask a question, please get ready to answer. Yeah, so the topic today is building an international career, and this is targeted at product managers. Some of the things I will be talking about today will be, you can use it in almost any career, but I tried to streamline it as much as possible. So I took out some information and then I added some information that won't be relevant if you're like in construction, for example. So just to set expectations there. Also, it's also good if you guys listen, if you guys focus, well, not focus, if you guys engage. I did like travel out of your wedding to join this talk today, so there must be someone very important here. So okay, let me start. Yeah, I've said a lot. I'll also try to run through very quickly so that because my expectation is that there might be a couple of questions and I want to spend some time on that. So I'll run through the slides as fast as I can, well, not too fast, and then hopefully we have some more time for questions. Okay, so my name is Yewande. I usually put the pronunciation because of people, I get a lot of pronunciations for my name. In Germany, W is pronounced as V, so people call me Yewande. That's also fine, but I do get a lot of pronunciation, but this is how I pronounce my name. I'm a product owner with JustEatTakeway. JustEatTakeway is the biggest food delivery company in Europe, and I work on the logistics team, helping to build the products on there. So the products for our delivery drivers. So just think about Jumia Food if you live in Lagos. I am from Lagos, Nigeria. Like, I'm actually originally from Lagos, and I live in Berlin. I've lived in other German cities, but currently Berlin is home. And I also transitioned to tech, and I got an international job while living in Nigeria. I didn't used to put this because to me it was not a big deal, but knowing how everyone wants to travel, I think this is very important. It's also part of my story, and I'm very happy to share how I went about it for everyone interested. All right, so this talk is for you. So I usually like to focus my target audience as a PM, which you all should do when I'm talking. Sorry, just put in your questions. Don't raise up your hand so you don't distract me. But just type in a question and I will look at everything eventually. So yeah, who's this talk is for? For example, if you're in Nigeria and you're thinking about your career options in the diaspora, so you're thinking about your career options in the West, outside the country. If you're in a non-technical role and you want to transition in tech because you want to jackpot, of course you want to transition in tech, but we do know that a lot of people want to travel out, and we know that tech is one of the it's one of the career options out there that can help you settle better, give you a lot of income, really accelerate your career growth. And then if you know you're just a brilliant person, you're good at what you do, you know what you're doing is global, and you just need some guidance on how to go about it or how to reach there. So this talk is for you if this is what I'm going to say is for you. I didn't go into things like benefits of product management, how to be a product manager, how to create strategy, because this is a product management community. And then I expect that if you haven't learned about those already, you will learn about it as you stay in the community. So this is just mostly focusing on like the career options and job, work, getting the job. I just repeated myself. So yeah, so I like to also talk about my background just to make things relatable for everyone. Everyone's story is different. Everyone's background is different. Also in how I like to talk to people, I don't really like to tell you what to do. So a lot of time I like to just tell my story, and hopefully you are able to get what you can from it or apply it to yourself. Also, what has worked for me might not work for you. Let's get this straight. There's no like a Yoruba proverb says, there's no one road to the market, right? Let me just translate it. For non-Yoruba people, there's no one way to do things. Anyone that tells you, oh, if you don't do things this way, you're not going to get this result, they're probably lying to you. What we have are frameworks. What we have are people's stories, people's experiences. So when you listen to people's stories and experiences, you need to take out what would work for you. You need to take out the learnings, and you need to take out the framework. But don't go with the intention to copy exactly what the person has done or what the person is telling you exactly to do. You need, especially as a product person, you need to be able to think very critically about what you're told and about the information that's being given to you. So let me just give you my background a little bit here. I have over 10 years work experience. I was one of the people that was working when I was a student, but also, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science. So I do have a technical background. But I did switch from that because of career, like the job opportunities available to me. So I have a career in computer science. I also taught high school students about computers. So this was my NYSC. This was my NYSC, and I took my NYSC really seriously, right? So even though it was something that a lot of people said, people were faffing around, I faffed around a bit, but I took it very seriously. I actually did teach computer science very well, and I do still get, I think years after, I still got feedback from some of my students just saying thank you for introducing them to tech. And I also did get a job, well, not a job offer. I did get like a recruiter from Google reach out to me because of my job as a computer science teacher in 2013. So just putting it out there for anyone, which is a point I'm going to make later on. So I think I've started my talk, right? So like I said, you just need to glean from my experience and take what relates to you. Whatever it is that you're doing, you need to really do it well, take it seriously, and take pride in it, because you really don't know what will get you the job you want or the opportunity you want. One of the reasons I got into Microsoft was because of my experience here. And even after that, I did get reached out to by a recruiter on Google. They were kind of like creating a platform for teachers and students. And my experience here was very useful. I didn't take the opportunity, but I just thought to point that out here. I joined Microsoft as an intern. So this was a generalist intern. I was an intern for about a year, and we're just exposed to different departments and job roles. After my internship, I got retained. Not everyone got retained. yeah, strategically and also luckily and also with the grace of God, I did get retained in, and I stayed in Microsoft and I became a category manager on there. I left Microsoft and became unemployed. I was unemployed. Yes, I did have a job for a while, then became for unemployment. Then I had a business. And my period of employment was actually quite voluntary because this was the part where I did transition to product management. And I took it so seriously that I actually did leave. Yeah, I apart from the fact that I left my job, I really didn't look for another job because I wanted to spend my time with the career transition. And then my career transition was very good, a lot of fun, very productive for me. Then I moved to Hamburg, Germany, where I started working as a product owner with a startup. And then currently I moved to Berlin, and then I currently work with, which is the introduction I give to you. So now I put it down here. So I do have a technical background on here. Then I switched from having a technical background and working in a non-technical role, even though I was working for a technical, like a tech creating company. And then I moved to like a product role. Some people say product is tech, some people say tech is product. I don't get into those conversations. So yeah, that's my career timeline. So I do have like the story of why a lot of people are here, right? I will just start with the story of how I moved from, or like how I got the awareness from being like a very good at my job, being like a local champion, and then moving into like an international career. So yeah, like I said, I did work with Microsoft, and I did travel. I traveled for work once, and I went to the Microsoft head office in Seattle, and I did stay with some of my colleagues, or some friends of friends. I was there for a while. So after the work trip, I stayed back for holiday, right? I was doing like solo tripping, being very happy, independent, maximizing my life. And I started to, so you go out for dinners with people. Seattle is like very tech. So Microsoft's headquarters is there, Amazon's headquarters is there. Google has this amazing big office there, Starbucks, all of those things. So I did try to start meeting people. That was a time in my life I was also very deliberate. I am like a generally deliberate person, but that time was like, you know what, I'm maximizing my season, right? And then I started to meet with all these very interesting people, all these like 22-year-olds. And I saw that when we talk, they'll tell me something about, oh, I'm going to the government office to file my patent. I'm like, patent, as in the thing that the thing that's all this, or when you hear about Newton, when you hear about Thomas Edison, all these things with the light bulb, they do have patents for all these things. So like my mates and people younger than me, they are going to apply for patents. They're creating things that are unique and are impacting the world. I'm like, what kind of job do you do? And they'll tell me, oh, I work as some of them were working as like hardware product people. Almost everybody was a product person. I'm like, this product, what is it about it? Then the next conversation, when you hang out with people, sometimes it's in the evening, they have some alcohol in their body, all of that. They're very, very free with their words, right? Well, not free with their words in a bad place, but you can easily ask them, you can have conversations. And I said, I have conversations, like, how much are you earning? And I was hearing, this was like in 2014, 2015. And then someone was like, oh, I earn about $200,000 per year. $200,000. How? We're working in the same company, or like, how is this possible? How is this happening? And then I started to ask different people questions. And that was one thing that I've learned in, like, if you don't ask questions, right, you won't know these things. I had no idea. These were my colleagues that I was seeing that it's not the same Microsoft we had on our badge. There were different kinds of badges. Like the Microsoft past Microsoft there is my point. Like these were people that were young people, career people, and they were millionaires in their own regard in that way. I used to have this mentality or impression that you have to be a business owner to be a millionaire. So I'm sorry, that's bullshit. Yeah. And this was then, this kind of people now probably earning like 300, 500K per year. Legit. And I was not here, it was not them say, they were telling me themselves, right? And I was thinking about my life, and I was like, oh no, what am I doing? Like, how am I doing? I'm very confident, I'm very proud, all of those things. I'm like, okay, there has to be something I'm either doing right or wrong. That's number one. But then I realized that sometimes there's some things that, like, your location influences you sometimes, right? Your earnings, your the kind of opportunities you know. And then the thing is that some things, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you know. And I started to sit down and ask them, what exactly did you people do to get to this point? right? And to be honest, that was kind of like the beginning of my deliverance, that, you know what, I can earn what I want to earn. Like, there's these opportunities are out there. Oh, one thing to know, a lot of these people were Black people. Some of them were also Nigerians. So I'm like, they don't have two heads. That's number one, right? They don't have two heads. And then number two, now that I know, what do you people know that I don't know? And how can I get to that point? So just wanted to say, that was kind of like the beginning. And then for me, the second thing, which is also back to questions, when I got back to Nigeria, and this was months later when I was unemployed, I used to go on Instagram and then I'll see. So I really like traveling, right? So I would save my money to travel. I follow travel blogs, all of those things. Like, that's one thing I do. Like, till now, I still do. Like I said, I traveled overnight because of this talk to come back home, because I was out of town. So I'll go online. I used to see one of these my friends living lavish, living a good life and everything. And then one day I asked him, Oga, what do you do? Are you doing Yahoo? Tell me about it. Like, I didn't know how much he was earning, but I was just like, I like this life they are living. What are you doing? And then he was giving me all these vague question and answer and everything. I said, you know what? I'm going to meet up with you, right? Tell me when you're in Nigeria. And I would, let's hang out. And I went to these very expensive restaurants because I'll pay for you. Don't worry, sit down. I brought my laptop. Tell me what you're doing. How are you doing it? Right? And we sat down and I gleaned as much information as I could from him. Right? So this is another thing. There's a lot of people, I find that people reach out to, you see people doing big things, right? And you're reaching out to them and then you're disappointed when they don't answer you. You do have a lot of people in your networks and your communities already that have the information that you need. You just need to, like, I find that people maybe go online to just look at people. I could have just been jealous because he was doing the things I wanted to do. But I sat down, I asked him a question, like, let's have this conversation. Tell me about it. Like, don't worry, I got your bill covered. Just do what you want to do, right? And to be honest, that meeting, right, was one of the things that changed my life. He gave me a list of the websites he used to apply. He was working remotely, and then just working from different countries. Gave me a list of the websites he was using to apply to. I have the link in here where you guys can get it. Also the skills he had, the courses he was doing, and we sat down. We're like, okay, what's your strengths? What are my weaknesses? Like I said, I do have a technical background, so I know how to code. He is a software engineer, and I'm like, okay, what else? What are the other careers? And that was when I was like, okay, I already knew I was already transitioning to product management, but I was in between. Should I be a product manager or a data scientist? So I was training to become a data scientist too. And that kind of like solidified, okay, you know what, let me focus on this. Let me use these resources this person has given me. And let me then do my career transition. Okay, I've said a lot. And to be honest, I feel like I can stop my call now and just answer the questions. But this is from my experience already as someone that has traveled, right? Or someone that's successfully like transition careers, someone that's gotten information from people, and then someone that has jackpot with work and stayed here for a while. I did kind of like create a roadmap, which I think is very useful. So if you do want to travel out of the country, like Nigeria or whatever country you're in, don't worry, if you're looking at the slide, you see it. If you're doing, this is kind of like a roadmap that you can follow. This is where a lot of people get stuck, right? They get stuck in the job application. And I feel like some people, some expectation, I feel my thinking was that some expectations would be like, oh, this is how you should make your CV to travel, this is how you should do. But there's a lot of things you need to do before your resume and job application. So the first thing you need to do, you need to upskill. So you're a product manager, you need to be very good at your job, right? Whatever it is, even if you're still transitioning, that current job that you're doing, remember I mentioned I was a teacher, and that influenced the job interview I did. You need to upskill, make sure you have the skill for the job and be very good at it, because there's no mediocrity like even in Nigeria, like everything, people are fast becoming very excellent. You need to upskill. The second thing you need to do is you need to research, and that's the part I'll be focusing on a lot, because I find that a lot of people, research is one of my strong points. I probably should even go on to a PhD self. It's one of my strong points, and I find that a lot of people get stuck because of this research part. People either don't research properly, they don't talk to the right people, or they don't have the right information, which is weird because Google is open to everyone, right? The next thing you need to do is branding and positioning yourself. And honestly, if we're going to talk about branding, we won't leave here today. That's why I didn't focus on this. You need to brand and position yourself for the career you want. Very simple trick. If you look at the top product managers in the world, or in like that you have access to, how are they branded? How does their LinkedIn look like? What keywords do they use? It's such a very simple trick, just to copy and paste. Eventually, at some point, you start to create your own identity. Of course, I'm not saying you should copy another person's identity, but if you're going to use LinkedIn, for example, eventually the more you use it, the more you learn how to use it better, and then you can customize and add your own skills. But if you're a beginner at branding and you don't know what to you don't know where to start from, just pick the top 5 people in your field and then look at how, if it's Instagram you're going to use to brand, how do their Instagram pages look like? Because there are people that are branded on Instagram, people are branded on Twitter. What do they do, and which one can you do? Like I said, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to copy hook, line, and sinker, which doesn't make any sense. But use that as a framework if you don't have access to these frameworks. Now, the job application part is a lot to do with the job application part, right? I find some people, someone was complaining, oh, I applied to 40 jobs and I didn't get anything. There was a day I was applying to over 100 jobs per day. Remember I told you I didn't have a full-time job for a long time, not for a long time, for a while, and I had my business. So some days I would dedicate to my business, some days I would dedicate to learning, and some days I would dedicate to applying for jobs. I had a Notion page where I was tracking it. I would actually apply to over 100 jobs per day. And I say, okay, I've reached my goal for today. Tomorrow we'll start again. Any job application in the world is a game of numbers. Now, here's where you'll be silly. If you now have like a wrong resume and a wrong, if you have a wrong resume, the wrong approach, and you're applying to 100 places, then you're wasting your time. But by the time you have the right branding, the right resume, and you apply, eventually, you would get the company that would pick you. You get the company that will interview you. It's also a very one way to know that you're going about it wrong. If you're not getting interviews in the first place, like you're not even talking to recruiters, there's something wrong with your CV, because they're probably not seeing it. So I think the part of applying and branding yourself, those are things that I can talk about for like a very long time because I'm quite good at it. But it's something you really need to do. You need to know how to brand yourself. How are you Googleable? What do people see when they Google you? How are you on the internet? Because really, it's a global village. Nobody in the US knows that your dad is a chairman in Ondo. Do you get? So people outside where you want to, how do they see you? That's another thing. Now, visas and travel. So I see some people, they've upskilled, they've researched, they've branded, they've positioned themselves, they've applied, they've gotten a job offer, and then they get to this part and it's a problem. So let me give you this. I had a friend that, I don't know if I should give this example. Anyways, let me just a random tip, right? There's some countries that even if you get a job, by the time you get to the embassy, if you don't have like a degree for the job or you don't have a bachelor's degree, they'll send you back. Some people don't know this, right? So you've done everything. So that's why sometimes when I see, oh, this tech founder dropped out of school. You as a Nigerian, you want to drop out of school. Yes, maybe you get the job, but maybe it's the embassy that will chase you back, right? Or you see, there are different types of visas. So like where I am now in Germany, there are different types of visa. There's the work visa, there's a blue card, there's permanent residency. You need to know which is right for you, which you're supposed to do. So you need to understand visas, laws, regulations, all of those things. Very important to your jackpot journey. You don't want to get to a point where you put in all of the work and then a regulation or a very funny regulation, maybe you have, or like I have a friend that she lived in Bahrain for a while, and apparently when you live in one of these countries that are at war with the US, getting a job in the US is almost impossible. They just would not give you a visa. Like those very tiny things, you need to know about it. So when I mean visas and travel, I mean like the rules, regulations, of where it is you want to go to. Then you need to settle in and adjust to your new environment. There are people that travel, they've done all these things, then they get to a new place and they can't live there. It's not your village people. Not everywhere is for everybody, really, right? So you really need to know, can I live in this place? Some people, it's racism that chases them back, and then they're depressed, they're really sad, or maybe your family just can't settle there. So you need to understand, how can I settle in? What do I need to know about this new environment? My point is that settling in and adjusting to your environment is very critical to jackpotting. It's like if, for example, you can't survive in cold, it's what it is, right? Some people can't, and some people can't survive in heat. Like it's what it is. It's not, nobody's doing you. But my point is, these are things that you really need to know so that you don't put in work and then you're regretting it later. The next thing you need to do is to excel at work. Some people travel, oh, you've done everything right, you've branded yourself. You know, there's some people that they know how to package very well. They may or may not be substance, but then you get the job and then you don't excel at the job. And excelling at the job is not just your technical skills, your soft skills are also there, right? So excelling at, yeah, you could jackpot and then they fire you. If you're in a country like Dubai, 30 days you're back in Nigeria, starting from scratch. These things happen to people. So you need to know how to excel at work. Another tip and trick that I tell people is that the skills to get a job and the skills to succeed at the job are very different. You need to know the difference between both of them. When you're applying for a job, you need to know the skills you need to apply for a job. When you're doing the job, you need to know the skills to excel at this job. Then after you have gotten to the point where you're excelling at the job, you need to build a new and purposeful life. I don't know if any of us have all these uncles that they've been in the abroad for 30 years. And you just look at it and you're like, I don't want to be like you, right? You don't want to be that person that you have traveled, you've done everything right, but you don't have a purpose to your life, right? Because yeah, I have a mentor who says this all the time, like a lizard in Nigeria is a lizard in Canada. So you need to have, like, you need to know who you are and then carry that yourself to this new country you want to go to, or prepare to carry yourself. You don't leave your purpose behind. You don't leave your dreams behind. You don't leave what you are created to do behind. And this is something that is very, very easy, especially when you are in the diaspora, to forget your purpose and you get a life. And this is why you see sometimes there's a huge rate of depression. People are you think they're succeeding, but really, really they're not succeeding. They're not happy. See, if you know you're going to travel out, and it's going to ruin your life, it's better for you to stay where you are. And then the last part is upgrade. So this is at the point where, you know, you didn't just travel just because everybody's traveling. You're traveling because you have gotten to a point where you're purposeful, right? You're now getting to a point where maybe you can start businesses. You can actually train others to do the same thing. For example, if I wasn't maybe doing well here, I wasn't happy here, I won't be able to talk to you, for example, right? I won't have the confidence to come speak to you and tell you this is what exactly you should do. If I was broke, if I wasn't well paid, like if things were wrong with me, right? If my life wasn't upgrading, I won't be qualified enough. Like even when I'm talking to you, you understand, okay, this is BS this girl is saying. Even when I'm talking to you, you won't be able to. So you really need to, you can't stay in the same position all your life. You actually need to upgrade regardless of where you are. And this upgrade is also another topic entirely. So all of these things are the things, combination of things that you need to think about, or you need to prepare for when you are traveling. So I kind of like just picked one of each. Like I think I've given a lot of the information I was going to tell you previously, but I'm going to focus on the research part, which is why I said I hope somebody will not be disappointed, because I know some people are like, oh, you know what, apply here, then you get the job. It's not the same thing. Like what works for me may or may not work for you. But my point is, it is possible. There are people that have done it. When I moved, I didn't know any product person that had traveled from Nigeria I don't have a master's degree, without a master's degree or without a foreign degree. And then everybody I was listening to and talking to were all non-Nigerians, Americans. I was just looking for, let me find a role, because when you see something that you know you can do, let me find a role model somewhere else. So now that someone like me can do it, then you also can do it if you put in the work and if you put in the right kind of work. So let me go back. So I'm focusing on research. So what exactly is research, right? Research is basically using existing knowledge in a creative way to generate new concept. Okay, this is plenty English. Basically, research is taking what someone has said or what someone has done and using it to make your life more meaningful, or to using it to make something better for yourself. So that's why I'm focusing on research. My expectation was that some people might not like the fact that I'm focusing on research. They might want the job application part. They might want the branding part. But really, if you do this research part well, a lot of your work is done for you. Because if you research properly and you apply the principles you learn, the right principles you learn, then you can properly brand yourself. You can properly learn how to settle in or know where to settle to. This visa thing was something that saved me, because I know so many people that they turn back after doing all the work, right? But I'm the kind of person that I can read terms and conditions. The way it has saved me from so many mistakes is like I can't explain. Like it has been invaluable. So you really need to do your research, right? So So what are the things that you need to research about, or so things that, I won't say things that you need to, well, I think here I just threw in like a combination of things you should know if you want to travel for a job. So one of the things is you need to, your network is very important. I know people say this all the time, but it really is. Who you, like, your, I don't really agree with your network is your net worth, but your network is important. That's my point. You need to expand your network. You know, you want to live in Canada, for example. You need to start to have, maybe not Canadian friends, but all your friends cannot be, all the people you know cannot just be Nigerians. The way Canadians talk, the way they walk, their mannerisms very different. And when you are, oh God, I have a spelling error here. I hope you guys don't spot it. When you're expanding your network, you need to have your vertical and horizontal network. So you have mentors at the top, have people you're reaching out to, also have your horizontal network. My peers have been so valuable to me. Like my friends, like the way we drag ourselves up together, like we don't need any extra person. If someone gets more information, we send it out to everyone. Like if I'm succeeding, my friends are succeeding. If they're succeeding, I'm moving up to have your horizontal network, have accountability partners, have people you're growing and learning with, and do things very purposefully. Like I can't overemphasize this. Don't do things because everybody's doing it, or reach out to one person because everyone is saying this is their own mentor. Do things very purposefully. Know why you're reaching out to someone. Be very straight to the point, very exact. Don't waste people's time, and have an open mind, right? So I hear some people saying, oh, they can't have like maybe they can't have like white friends, or have heard someone say they don't understand the British accent. Have an open mind. You're an immigrant to someone, so you're a minority to somebody else, right? So don't treat people that you can't, like, don't like look down on people or say you can't connect with this kind of person. Well, that's network. I know there are a lot of trainings about how to build your network. Opportunity is also very important. Learn how to make the best use of every opportunity you have, and any opportunity you get, try to glean as much as possible. So it doesn't matter who you meet or who you have. I find that sometimes a lot of us, and this is opportunities and questions, they're very, in fact, all these points are linked to themselves. You can learn from everybody or from anybody. Because someone has no jackpot does not mean the person doesn't have the authority to talk to you, right? So even if you don't like, someone was telling me something a few days ago, like he was telling me about this guy that he does not like, but the guy was spitting wisdom, so he had to listen to him. I'm like, you're a wise person then, right? Some people, because they don't like how someone sounds or they don't like the person, they don't listen to them. Glean, anywhere you go to, you really don't know what will take you to where you're going to. Like, and I know because I have been there. There are some people in very frustrating situations in Nigeria where you're not earning well, your employers are not treating you right, you're not earning, like some people on ASU strike. Like all of these things, I've been through them. Well, I didn't go through ASU strike, but I've been through a lot of these things. But my point is there's no situation you can't learn from. So please maximize your season that you're in right now, your opportunity that you have right now. Your mindset is also important. So why I gave my story in the first place, what's traveling to the US and talking to those people did for me was to change my mindset. Previously, I would say, oh, because I was also trying to apply for my master's degree, which for some reason I just haven't done. I had the mentality that, oh, you need to be a business person to be a millionaire. I had a business, I had a fashion brand, which I was doing. I had a consulting business, very like, where the money is, I'm moving there. You need to change your mindset, right? So I also had the mindset that you need like a degree or a foreign degree to work out of the country. I had to change that. You know what? I can work with the knowledge I have. And if I don't have the knowledge, I have the capacity to build it. So changing your mindset. Also, I used to have, like, it's not like I used to have this stereotype. I was taught a couple of stereotypes that I had to unlearn. So you need to unlearn a lot of things that that are not serving you. You need to ask questions. I already told you how questions helped me, right? Like if I need to spend money to ask questions, to pay for courses, I'm very happy to, because I'm very purposeful and I know what I'm getting out of that session with you. Then excellence, I can't overemphasize this. You need to excel. You need to be excellent at what you do. Let me give you an example. When I moved to Germany, right, I used to make slides. So as a product person, you need to make slides. And I used to have this guy that I work with, and he would tell me that I don't know if all of us hex code. So maybe I'll use the hex code. So the hex code for white is FFFF, like 6 Fs. And I'll use FFFF for slide 1, and I'll use maybe FFFFFG for slide 2. There's almost no difference. but this guy will point it out. And I'll be like, what kind of witchcraft is this? At some point, I was like, this guy is following me. Like, there's no difference. Or he will tell me that the way your title is aligned in slide 1 to slide 12, they're not the same. And I used to make slides of almost 100, like presentation almost 100 slides. And you tell me slide 1 and slide 12 is not aligned. And I used to be so angry. And at some point, I was like, honestly, I was not being excellent in my slides. I was not creating something I was world class. Those are the kind of details that maybe when you're out of the country, you have to learn about. So better for you to kind of like learn it now. So sometimes some people are very finicky, but really you can't give them an opportunity to say your work is not good. Whatever it is that you do, make sure you know it as much as you can, right? In how you speak, how you think, and how you act, you really need to act excellently. There are a lot of Nigerians outside the country, which is why we have a bad reputation, that just don't carry themselves or do excellent work. And you do need to be the word just left my head, an exception to that. So yeah, one thing I wanted to mention was I see sometimes in comment section when people are talking to people that live abroad, they're like, oh, thank you for this information, ma. Thank you for this information, sir. I don't understand. This fake humility doesn't make any sense. Well, that's my opinion. But like my point is you do need to kind of like learn how to how to communicate with the people where it is that you're going to, right? So understand how they think, how they speak, how they do things excellently, and try to do the same thing here. This mental health part, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm not quite sure why I put this in here, so I'll just skip it because of time. So regulation, I've given you an example of why regulation is important. You need to understand laws and regulations in different places. Oh my God, the laws in Germany are plenty. And if there's no that I did not know, right? You're going back home. The laws in all these countries are very plenty. There are lots. Visa laws, visa rules, the country you're going to, you need to understand what are their rules, what are their laws, what do you need to do to settle in, know that beforehand. Then you need to have your goals. I do see some people, maybe because they're young people, they just travel and they're like, oh, everyone is traveling. If you don't have a goal, you're going to come back. Because so for some people, it's because they just want to travel. They don't think about the fact that they are going to have a family or they have aged parents. They don't think about the impact they want to have, the kind of career they want to have. So you need to know your goals and you need to research. These are my goals. This is where I'm going to. So for example, if you know you want to have like a side hustle, I won't recommend you to come to Germany, for example, right? It's very hard. Not like it's hard, but the taxes are a lot here. If you're a small business, you don't want to be paying a lot of money on taxes. This is where you need to know regulations. You need to also know your goals. This is why they all tie into themselves. Get help. If you know, you don't know what you don't know, and it's not a crime not to know things. Please get professional help. Pay for courses if you need to. Talk to people if you need to. Then money too. You can't. A lot of time, it's not easy to immigrate when you're broke. You need to have money. It maybe when you reach here that they'll probably be paying you, but you need to at least have money for like the visa processes. Maybe your first flight to settle in, your first house, for example, to ask questions. My point is immigration is not cheap, so you do need to save for it, and then you do need to have money for it. So I think those are the points for the research. I did add some other things because here's the thing, you saw that roadmap I gave you, it's a lot, so I did pick out some other things. So for a resume and portfolio, some tips that you should know: your resume should not be more than 2 pages. I don't know what you're writing that is more than 2 pages. Please make sure your resume is just 2 pages. Is impact driven. Put your results there. A lot of recruiters globally are busy. They don't want to know that you manage 10 people. What was the impact of the 10 people you manage? Customize your resume for your job role and location. In some countries, you need to put your picture. In some countries, if you put your picture there, they will say if the recruiter is racist, that's the end of your job. I don't know why people put their date of birth. It's almost not necessary unless it's asked for, right? Don't put in things that will make them like label you or just put it into a box that you don't want to be put in. So then your branding is how you use social media, how you use the branding tools available to you. When you Google yourself now, what do you see? Right? Use incognito mode and Google yourself so you see what people see about you. Your network and community. So maybe I actually had a slide on network and communities, but I took it out because I don't want to promote other communities in a community. So this is a community. Take advantage of it. Be known, participate in conversations. Some places they ask for references, right? And sometimes your community can be a place where you can get good references. Just a tip. Well, don't lie and say this is your lecturer. but some communities are good places to get references. So yeah, if you're known in those communities, engage, ask questions, answer people's questions. I've also gotten job opportunities from asking and putting out things or discounted courses in communities like women in products. There are different places where I'm quite active in, and like if I'm not going to be active in a community, I probably won't join in the first place. But if I'm in there, I try to be as active as possible. I'm even on a coaching scholarship now from a community I'm in, and someone posted it and posted the owner's goals and aims. I took advantage of it, and then yeah, I'm being trained for free on a very an amazing coaching program. I didn't even know I needed it, but yeah, you know, who knows. Now, specifically for PMs, what are things that you need to really know? So I mentioned learn the hard skills, very important. Your work has to speak for you. Learn the soft skills. So sometimes as a product person, your soft skills are even more important than your hard skills. You need to learn to build relationships within and outside your team, especially when you're out of the country. It's so hard when you are with after you've already jackpot. It can be very difficult because you're meeting people. Sometimes you don't understand what they're saying. They're making jokes that are not funny to you. You know, it's very different out there. But you need to learn how to build relationships with people, right? So you need to be seen, basically. There's no timid product person. I think I wrote an article on LinkedIn about some of the mistakes I made in my career as a product person. And in a very strange way, the article went viral in some places. Like I saw it, I'll visit some communities and I'll see someone share my article and I'll be like, okay, this is interesting. And one of the things in there was really like being by myself, not building relationships. You're going back home. That's what I'm going to say. You need to learn how to communicate effectively. This doesn't mean like now. I know there's this thing called context switching where you try to talk like the people you're around, but really, if you know how to communicate, you know how to speak, people can hear you, they can understand you. I tend to talk too fast, so but I'm rushing now. But I try to slow down when I'm communicating. Listening to people is part of communicating. You need to learn how to communicate effectively. Like I feel that I had to relearn this after I left Nigeria because we don't communicate very well in Nigeria. We try to listen to respond. Sometimes you need to listen to think, right? Or to just acknowledge or to empathize as a product person. Then you need to build something, right? One of the things you probably show or that will make you stand out when you're applying for international job is showing what you have built. People say these things, but to be honest, a lot of people don't build stuff out there. So when they see that you build something that actually has an impact, it makes recruiters or it makes hiring managers excited to have you or to hire you into their team. Then you need to demonstrate leadership. And I'm not talking about leadership where you're yelling at people or being like our politicians. Servant leadership, you know, knowing how to guide people in a way that they don't feel like they are goats. You get? So basically, you need to demonstrate leadership, show that you're a leader, show community work you're doing. I'm very involved in lots of NGOs and I talk about it very passionately when I'm talking to recruiters. They love this things. They love this things. So just putting it out here. So I feel like these are things that you really need to focus on. Your story is yours, really. So talk about it, really well when you get the opportunity to talk to a recruiter. So yeah, I put in here product management salaries all around the world. I wouldn't go into this really because I think the conversation has gone a different way in my head. So just wanted to show you kind of like the earnings of product managers in different parts of the world. It's a range so that if you're applying and you're negotiating, you know how to negotiate. Please don't let anybody shortchange you because you're in Nigeria or you're just coming in. It happened to me, don't let it happen to you. Negotiate your money. And if you see that they will leave, if you see that you lose the job, take the job. When you come in there, you can make the decision to renegotiate or to find a better job. But yeah, you do, like if you're good at your job, you do deserve to be paid what anybody else is being paid. So yeah, take a screenshot of this so you can talk about it later on. But you can also find this on Google, really. I'll move to the next part here where I put some websites where you can find international jobs in tech. So I just kind of like picked out the ones that I have found product management jobs on here. These are websites. I found my first job on angel.co, but if you go to my website, my blog, I did write a whole article and I shared all the links that I know about it. And I also, for some of the links, I did share my referral code so that they know that you come from me. And then hopefully they say that might get you considered better since I have an active profile with them. But to be honest, I don't know what it is you want to do. But these are some websites you can do. Take a screenshot, and hopefully you can get something on there. But like I said, before you apply, please brand yourself. I can't talk to you about branding really, but please brand yourself properly, do very good work, then apply. Don't apply with a rubbish profile. They will not take you. Right? Don't apply if you don't have good branding. You're wasting your time. But these are the websites. Going back, just a few things to note. Avoid people thinking that they're doing you a favor. Really, like I said, if you're good at your job, you're good at your job globally. Nobody's doing you a favor by hiring you. Please, I feel like I need to say this to Nigerians a lot, because sometimes we can be very grateful, but they need you. They need your skills. Nobody's doing you a favor. You're going there to work, and that's what you're going to do. Don't say thank you for your salary. Always start, know your why. Really, like I said, everybody wants to jackpot, but not everywhere is for you. I'd say not some people. My point is, just know why you're traveling, and it can't be it can't be because other people are doing it. Number two, don't tie your identity to your career. Why? Because you're going to get a lot of no's. Out of those 100 jobs that I was doing per day, eventually I eventually moved to one offer. Eventually, I applied to thousands of jobs. If you start to get depressed because they're telling you no, my dear, you stay there. Don't tie your identity to your career. It's a numbers game. You get a lot of no's, and you only need one yes when you think about it. So yeah, like I said, the nose will know. And then I also feel like I need to point it out here. There are a lot of scammers out there too. There are a lot of human traffickers. Please be very careful. Don't go to places where you don't know anybody, where you can't ask questions. But yeah, watch out for that. So I think that's it. So my final note to you today is that, honestly, with all this story, the process to get a local job and an international job is very similar. What is very different is how you position yourself, right? Like I position myself, I know the value I carry, but also when I go anywhere, I carry myself that way. I position myself as the best for the job. I position myself as I'm a woman of color. Women of color are the most disadvantaged in the world, but I'm sorry, this one that I'm meeting here is very valuable. I'm the best fit for the job. If sometimes I need to do affirmations, I do it. Just remember that you are you're valuable when you have done the work, and then position yourself as a valuable person. And I have spoken for, oh my God, 45 minutes. I will stop here and let me see the questions that are in here, because I actually have to run very soon. So I don't know if Blessing or Banji want to come in while I'm looking at the questions.
All right, thank you very much.
I think there's an echo. Maybe, I don't know if it's from me. Okay, let me just go on. How can I get an intern job in product management? To be honest, it's the same thing. You need to follow the same things. You are going to apply, but you're just going to apply for internships. So how to first get an APM job? An APM job is called Associate Product Manager. It's also like an internship. So it's also the same thing. You just need to look for the APM jobs or the internships. Okay, I see this is an expectation. So I'm an entry-level PM. So I'm reading Toluwani's question here. I'm an entry-level PM. I've taken quite a lot of courses and webinars, got a product strategist role. Congratulations. It seems like the reality is different from theory. So yeah, like I mentioned, skills to get the job, very different from the skills to do the job. Also, another thing I need to mention, I feel like, and this is something that happened to me, right? After I got my first job, I was a little bit disappointed at the things I was doing. I thought I would come in and be creating strategy for the company and be creating roadmap and everything. Meanwhile, my first roles were like just create slides, create documentation, you get all the things that I thought I won't be doing. Now, this is something I want to say, right? And this applies to every field. Every field has like its own, what I call like the shiny things. But there is also like the boring work that needs to be done. Here's the thing, both of them are important. The documentation that you're creating, and you're documenting just the user stories, or you're documenting how you guys launched something that already happened, is equally as important as you creating strategy for the company. The trick is that work that is not the shiny work, do it as excellently as you would do the work that is the big work. it's not every time you do the big work. A lot of PMs, there's a lot of, in product management, there's a lot of you asking developer, are you sure you cannot do this in 2 sprints? There's a lot of in you doing recurring work, right? There's a lot of you being in stand-ups that are not going anywhere. Like, what am I doing here? There's a lot of you refining tickets that you're like, okay, this doesn't seem to make any sense, but we'll go ahead for it. There's a lot of work, really, that you might consider not impactful, but you just need to reframe and say that, you know what, this work that I'm doing that seems like a 5-year-old can do it. If I don't do it, then there's probably going to be an impact on the company, right? Someone comes in and this information is not useful. Try to find the value behind what you do. It's not every day as a product person that you do the shiny work. It's not every day that you're creating, that you're doing competitor analysis. Some days you're just talking to customers, and those customers have the time. Like I work with restaurants, have the time, they're cooking and they're answering me, and maybe they're switching to their language, and I'm waiting and I'm saying, oh no, it's fine, it's okay. There's a lot of that in there. So the next one, oh, I have a fan. Oh my God, that's interesting. Wanted to make an inquiries about the RPM, Relational Products Manager. Is that the one for Facebook? I don't quite remember. Let me know. And what are the requirements for a Nigerian? I don't quite remember what the RPM program is, to be honest. But yeah, okay, another thing to mention, I feel like I'm just giving you things that you guys should pay for in the first place. One thing with some jobs is that some jobs are not open to people in certain locations. And honestly, sometimes it's bullshit, sometimes it's regulation. Like I said, that's why you need to know regulation. So there's some jobs that are for the US only. Even in Europe, there's some jobs that even if you're working, for an European company and you're not in the EU region, you can't do it because of data privacy. So there are multiple reasons why there's some jobs that are not available to you in Nigeria, even remotely. So you just need to understand why. You need to understand that this will be discriminatory, or is there like a valid reason for it? Sometimes, a lot of times, there's a valid reason for it. Sometimes it's bullshit. But yeah, so when you're looking at jobs, you need to look at the requirements. Some jobs, why they may not take you if you are still in Nigeria, is because they don't want to go through the hassle of processing a visa for you. That's also a reality, right? Unfortunately, we have very stringent visa rules in Nigeria, and it goes the other way. It goes both ways. So when people are coming to Nigeria, they also have to go through a lot of distress. So yeah, it's quite unfortunate that we have to go through that. But even with all of that, I didn't point out any like disadvantages or roadblocks today, right? Just because there's a lot of things we can say about this topic, but there are still jobs available to you if you see that a job is not available to you as a Nigerian or someone living in Nigeria or someone that maybe is in the US or not in the US, all those things. Some people have it worse, like Iranians cannot do anything that have to do with the US. I think they can't even use iPhones. So yeah, let's just pointing out here. How likely is this to get an RPM role in Meta? If Meta is in Nigeria, right? So if they have PM roles in Nigeria, you can get it. So reframe, do the work that you need to do to get the job and apply for it. What are the requirements? How should I prepare? I don't know the requirements off the top of my head because I'm not even sure if RPM is RPM is Facebook, relational PM. I don't know the requirements off the top of my head, but to be honest, I think you can Google it. Well, I'm there, I'll come to you, but let me read all the questions here. Interview questions, where to look for job ads, I've put it here. How to get your CV attractive to international companies, I've put some tips. I usually run like a LinkedIn class sometimes. I do it when I'm very benevolent with time. I just go online. I say, okay, if you want me to audit your LinkedIn profile, I've done the one for this year already. Sorry, wait till next year. I just audit people's YouTube LinkedIn profiles for free sometimes, or their CVs. But there are people that do this either at a cost, or if you have friends that are good at it, please do it. Maybe if I do it, maybe I'll put a cost to it so that I'll make small money. But yeah, there are rules out there to get your CV attractive and good for international companies, and I've given some points already, but I can't go into it in detail, else I'll talk for another 2 hours. So someone said 200 USD, almost 87 million naira, and this, I'm telling you, this was in 20 years ago. I don't know what link you're talking about, Trooks. Skills, yes. So someone is just saying, is a BSc in computer science or a similar degree really necessary? No, you don't need a BSc in computer science to get a PM job. Just isn't out there. Principles are what matter. Yeah, you guys have my LinkedIn profile. So I'm quite, LinkedIn is my preferred social media of choice. I really don't accept people I don't know to my Instagram, and I'm not active on Twitter anymore. But yeah, you can reach out Medium, my blog, and LinkedIn. Very happy to connect with you there. And then I'm also going to start an email list very soon when I have the time. So yeah, hopefully you do know about that. I'm just scrolling through very quickly to see this question. There are questions. So I see a lot of thank yous. What are the clear differences between a junior PM and a senior PM? Multiple things. Your years of experience, years of experience is a big indicator. What you know, indicator, and then your soft skills and your opportunity to play office politics. That's the truth. You need to know your soft skills. You need to learn how to be a leader. If people feel you can't lead them, they won't promote you to a leader, to a leadership role. Because right after senior PM is team lead or lead PM, which is I'm now managing people. So you need to learn how to lead people. You need to actually do the work and make sure that the work you're doing is seen and recognized and impactful by the company or for the company. If I have access to tools such as mixed panel and amplitude, you still need to learn SQL to generate data. This is a very specific question and it's very contextual. It depends on what do you need the data for, right? I don't use mixed panel and amplitude at work, so I'm not really a professional at them. So I'll skip that. So there could be a promo. I'm transitioning with products with no tech background. Yeah, Gloria, you don't need a tech background, but you need technical knowledge because you'll be working with developers and you don't want to look like an idiot when you're talking to them. So take as many tech courses as you can, but you don't need to have a computer science degree, although it does have an advantage. So if you are some that maybe just going to go into school, or you're thinking of a master's degree to do, you can do something a little bit technical to give you an advantage. But there's a PM in my company that has a literature background. So yeah. So Chimunaya, my LinkedIn profile has been shared. What certificates or courses do you recommend? I do have also on my website. So all the story that I told you already, I have them actually on my blog, and I do like I at some point I was writing a series until I got lazy. But you can find certifications and courses on there. Do I need professional certificates like product dive? How important is it? It depends. So for me, before I transitioned, I had a technical background. I also had work experience, right? So it was easy for me to kind of like not need a certificate to say I'm a product person. But if you don't have like what I have, then a certificate like product dive will be useful for you. I already had business knowledge from my job at Microsoft. I had technical knowledge from my BSc. Then I was also doing a lot of freelancing. I was doing a lot of, I had a business too. So I was hiring developers and working with them. So I could put all of this experience together to create my own portfolio. But if you don't have that, then you can, you should do, I would recommend to do a professional certificate, like product that I would also do a professional certificate if I had some extra time. So it's always good to keep learning. Okay, I think I've gone through from your blog. You said you revisit. I have all these things on my blog already, to be honest. I just need to add more information to it, but I think what I have is very good to start with on my blog. Blessing, I think you almost called me Yewande twice. My name is Yewande.
I see. Yes. Right. I almost did. Right. Thank you very, very much. So guys, okay, I think she has taken Yewande as I was about to say Yewande again. Right. Yewande has taken almost all the questions. Right. We have one hand up. I don't know if the person is still willing to ask the question. But then thank you so much, Yewande. Yeah. You guys are you people whining me or something? You're raising your hands and you're lowering your hands. Okay, so I already shared Yewande's social media handles, right? I've shared our social media handles. So everything, all of the goodies that she brought for us today, please, whichever resonates with you or you can relate with, you can just drop it on her LinkedIn or anywhere, just tag her. Let's, and you can also tag Enoverlab too as well. Enoverlab, Enoverlab, ENOVERLABNG on Instagram, then Enoverlab, just the way I've spelled Enoverlab without the NG on LinkedIn and on Twitter as well. Okay, so we have one question here from Jimo Taufikat. She said, for someone who wants to be a technical PM, do you need a technical background or just a basic knowledge of tech?
So it depends. From my own experience, I've noticed that. So one thing, okay, I keep jumping. Let me focus. For a technical PM, you probably do need a maybe not a technical background, but you need more than a basic knowledge of tech. So just off the top of my head, I've seen different tech job descriptions of a technical PM, right? But a technical PM, you should be able to know how to write like requirements for APIs. Of course you know how to create dashboards, for example, so you can see reporting. So data dashboard, back-end dashboards also. Some technical PMs are even required to kind of like step in and code, maybe when developers are not available. You should be able to, you should know about functional requirements, know how to use like AWS, for example. You might be the one setting up the cloud environment. So yeah, you might need some technical knowledge for it. But the thing with tech, right? There are a lot of people that are successful in tech without technical backgrounds, but with technical knowledge. So I would say basic knowledge of tech won't be enough. Even as a PM in general, you shouldn't have basic knowledge of tech. Everybody in the world has basic knowledge of tech, thanks to the pandemic. You should have more than basic knowledge of tech. And then you should, as a technical person, you need to have a list. It says it in the name. You should be more technical. But I've seen some technical PM job descriptions that don't require it. So because there's no like regulation in like PM world, some people just kind of like create PM roles and say it's technical PM, right? So maybe if you see those, you might be lucky with the knowledge you have, but ideally you should have some more than basic technical knowledge, at least of APIs, of events, of building a website, at least like a marketer, and data analysis. So I hope that answers your question, Jamal.
All right, thank you very much, Yewande. So there are no hands up. I bring you greetings from the community, from the team, from everyone. If someone is saying, Yewande is busting our head, right? Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We appreciate you taking your time to break down all of these things into understandable pieces. Thank you so much. So I feel like Banji would have one or two things to say. And also, guys, you people should not run away today. We're making a video and we're taking pictures. So you have to turn on your videos. Hey. All right. Hi, Banji. Good evening.